Hey there, toy collector friends and Transformers fans alike. Welcome back to the channel, and in this video we are looking at Transformers Age of the Primes Solus Prime. This is one of the 13 primes. I'm not sure the last time, if ever, there's been an actualized figure that matches the cartoon-esqueness and the comic book-esqueness of Solus Prime. But as part of the Age of the Primes range, we are now getting their commitment to the full 13, of which Solus Prime is a key player. And Solus Prime is the maker of all the weapons and sort of special gimmicks and gizmos of the Primes, and has the forge of Prime, which is the wonderful hammer there. Which we will take a look at in a moment, but first let's have a quick look at the packaging. I've taken the interior box out to unclip, so that's why that's not in there. I've said it before and I'm saying it again because it's true, I really love this sort of not slimmed down, but sort of streamlined artwork. Transformers Age of the Primes, the black and gold for me really works alongside that red logo. And of the 13, this is Solus Prime as mentioned. There is Cybertronian mode, and there is her robot mode. On this side we see a part of the mural that is the 13 primes, and that I believe is Solus Prime there, holding the forge, and the well of Allsparks is there. I think at the top, if I just angle this slightly, we can see the till all are one in multiple languages. On the other side we have a view, that same artwork for Solus Prime again, looking very Solus Primey, very nice it is. And on the back, product shots. There's the hammer, there is Solus Prime, and there is the Cybertronian truck mode, which gives me Cup vibes, and I'm not really sure why, but there's just something cross between Cup and Springer. That's what I see. But there we are. You'll see in this illustration those sort of shoulder pylons are down. I'll pop the box there just for a bit of depth. I've actually got them angled slightly upwards, but that is, let's get the figure in hand, that is purely a me thing. They can be angled down. I'm not sure if there's a right or a wrong. Maybe part of it also depends on what sort of mood she's in. But I kind of like that silhouette where they're slightly up. And I posed her. It doesn't really impact on the back, but we'll, as I say, let's do a little bit of a tour of the figure itself, and start with sorry, it's getting to focus. Start with the head sculpt there, and it is a lovely head sculpt. She's got some wonderful green eyes with that lovely gold crest there in the center of the head. It's a beautifully done head sculpt, I think. The pylons there on the side are a beautiful combination of the sort of purple that we've got in the most of the body is cast in, and then we have that lovely gold accent there, same on the other side. And really that's it in terms of color scheme for Solus Prime. It is predominantly, as you can see, that purple with those gold accents, apart from those wonderful green eyes there. We do have some silver along the way, splitting up the purple. So it's there on the arms, there on the chest, very metallic coloured on the sort of midriff part there. Then the thighs again, metallic, and then we go down and we see the feet, which are those are some very aggressive toes. You know, they really are. Gold trim on the skirt piece. It looks a little bit like there's some scuffing on that skirt piece. Not too sure where that has come from, as this is fresh out of the box. But I'll see if there's something I can do about that a bit later. But yeah, all in all, a very nice figure. There's some lovely sculpting work there in terms of surface detailing. On the back, well, it's no surprise that we've got a couple of wheels hanging out, and the backpack looks remarkably like the front of the vehicle. But to be fair, it's, you know, it's a Transformer. They mostly have their parts on there, but a lot of parts are on the back, and it's quite sleek, so it doesn't really sort of encroach into my line of sight. It might even tab in. There you go. We can even move it in a bit better. so it just forms, you know, it's a very slim and sleek design. So I'm not fussed about it. The wheels we have just on the sort of hanging out on the back of the feet there, as they are also on the back of those shoulder pylons. But you know what, we've seen a lot worse, and it's very much in keeping with the design. I'm just looking at if there's anything particularly unusual or worth mentioning about articulation. The figure articulates in all the normal places and in all the normal ways. I don't think we can move this out of the way to increase the range of the leg. We can see that we have all the movement there that you would hopefully anticipate having. I have heard some strange comments, or some strange views maybe, or some disappointed views perhaps is better, around this this sort of the skirt here. And I'll just zoom out slightly just so we can take a look at the figure in its entirety. And I'm not too sure why, because I appreciate that it's sort of in 3 pieces, and I think that plays in a bit to the transformation as well, which I haven't done yet. But to me, it's just part of the design of the character. I mean, you know, that's what the character looks like. So, and I do get this sometimes. I appreciate completely if we've got a classic figure that's being updated and they do something strange with the update and it no longer looks like the original figure, or at least the essence and the spirit of the original figure just aren't there. You may as well just have called it another name entirely. But this, just to sort of say, well, yeah, I think the engineering, I don't know why they've given her this piece, it's a bit strange. If that's what the character looks like and that's the design of the character, that's why the piece is there. If it becomes a challenge for the design team to then incorporate that into the transformation, well, that's what they're paid for. I believe, if I've understood some of my exploration of the 13 Primes lore, that Solus Prime was never really seen in an alternative mode, which gave them an awful lot of leeway to do what they like. And we'll look at the transformation shortly. But to me, that is just what Solus Prime looks like. That is her silhouette. That is her outline. That is her design. Yeah, it's really hard for me to say that it's odd or it's out of place, because I don't see how it can be when it's part of her design. You may, of course, disagree with me on that, and if you do, please let me know in the comments below your thinking. But do just explain your thinking. Don't just go, it just looks stupid, because that's just an opinion. That doesn't tell me why it's out of place or it's not accurate. But from what I've sort of looked at, it looks as accurate as you can make a toy based on a cartoon or comic book appearance. But I do like it. I like the options around the pylons, whether they're up or down, and whether, because again, if you're doing sort of dynamic posing for photography, as I put my teeth in, then it may be that the pylon angle could actually, in fact, be used to denote emotion, to sort of help with the selling of the figure's intent at the time, you know. So I'm quite happy with the way it looks. I think the hammer is quite impressive. To install the hammer in the hand, you probably know this already, you do actually have to take the hammer section off so it can slide through. There's no finger articulation, and also this bottom section detaches and it seems can be used as either a hand grenade or something. I think it's a bit small, and because the colour matches the arms, you kind of lose it. So I opted not to bother showing too much detail around that, because I think the hammer as is pretty much the most impressive look that those accessories can give us. So I'm quite content to stick with that look. Do I have a comment on the gendification of the figure? Well, she's the first female Transformer, and I don't mean that as in, I thought RC and Elita 1 were the first female. I mean, historically, going back to the beginning of Cybertron, allegedly, she is the first ever made female Transformer. And there are some clues to her being a female Transformer in the physical manifestation of the figure. I don't think it's overdone, to be honest. I think it's it is what it is. It conveys the femininity of her without it necessarily compromising her capacity and her ability to be a robust warrior. I'll tell you what her characterization reminds me of, and apologies if this is sacrilegious to some people. I can appreciate why it might be, because I'm about to blend genres. But her characterization, her very being, sort of reminds me of the armorer from The Mandalorian, which is again another female character. You wouldn't know it necessarily because of the helmet and the armor. But yeah, the armorer in The Mandalorian gives me the same energy, if you like, as I get from Solus Prime. Maybe I'm completely out with that. That's just my reading of it and my interpretation. You may have a view, and again, let me know your views in the comments down below. So this is Solus Prime in robot mode. I'm now going to transform her off camera because it's brand new, so it's a bit stiff. I don't want to make any hideous errors on camera and indeed swear too much for your sensitive ears in my attempts to transform her. But I will come back in robot mode as quick as I can to let you know how that has played out, and if there are any pinch points or issues that I think need to be brought to your attention should you wish to pick up this figure. Okay, don't touch that dial, but in the meantime, if you're enjoying the content, please do drop a like to the video, and whilst you're about it, why not drop a free subscription to the channel itself, because that really helps small content creators like me just get a slightly wider audience, as the algorithm is then a little bit more inclined to share our videos into other people's recommendations. So that would be fantastic. Anyway, if not, don't worry, I shall see you momentarily with Solus Prime transformed into her vehicle mode. Okay, so here we have Solus Prime transformed into her alt mode, and it took longer than I wanted it to, I'll say that. Why? Because it's not the most intuitive, for want of a better word, transformation. Even following the instructions, there are aspects to this that don't really flow. Now, don't get me wrong, it does work, it does happen, but part of the issue I had, and I don't know if this is a recurring theme, is I had a bit of pop-off syndrome. So there are some panels here on the side, these panels here actually, which this one even now here is refusing to tab in effectively, which could be because I've got something misaligned. But both this panel and its counterpart, which is tabbed in perfectly this side, they're part of the arm arrangement, and they just fly off. They're on a very, very tender friction joints, and they really just fly off. Similarly, the feet, which you can see on the underside here of Solus Prime, they don't like to tab in either. And there's a connecting tab here, which when you link this, almost then changes the whole alignment for the tabs at the side. So, and the ladder's fallen off now because it doesn't like what I'm saying about Solus Prime. But yeah, so it's a bit problematic. So you end up being, if you're like me, super cautious, and it taking far longer than it needed to transform. The feet also, well, that's what I started to say as well, yeah. So the feet, one of these feet are on a mushroom peg. Well, they're both on mushroom pegs, but as you turn it, unless you're very mindful, it just flies off in your hand. It literally comes away in your hand. I don't think the space for the mushroom peg has sufficient, it doesn't get sufficient purchase. Either that, or it's just not deep enough, and it just literally unpegs in your hand. It easily pegs back on again, so don't panic. But it is a nuisance when you're trying to transform it and you have to keep reattaching parts. So for me, the flaps on the arms and the actual feet themselves, not the easiest parts to transform. The rest of it, very nice, very neat. Some of the panels, the panel filling in here, sorry, I took it out of camera shot to point at it. Here, is a fold-out panel from the pylon, which you can't see in robot mode, which is really nice. I like surprising things like that. So there's some neat bits of engineering in there. And I also had it mistransformed initially, because this is the skirt, obviously the skirt section that I mentioned earlier. But I had it the wrong way around, so I had the gold section facing out, which I kind of liked, to be honest, but it was not right, so I've gone with what the instructions say. So it's a bit more muted now. Yeah, it does roll fine. I'm not convinced it's completely aligned accurately, and you can hear that slightly. So, you know, it's a 3 wheels on the thing at any one time, but I think that might just be the alignment of the legs that's doing that. I do like the look of it. I think it looks great. I love the gold accents still through it. I love the silver the bit of the sort of silver grey we can see, much less now. I love that the wheels are pinned, so they're not pegged, they're pinned. And I quite like the hammer attachment on the side like this. It does lend a bit to it, but you also have the option of using, and you can use this same point for storing in robot mode. But if you attach it here in vehicle mode, you then almost have a sort of a roof mounted weapon, which you can get a bit, because it's a hinged peg. It does give you the opportunity to pose it almost like a mini tank, and of course it does also mean you can rotate it. And it is supposed to be a mighty weapon, so it adds an additional level of playability and shape to Solus's form. Overall, I enjoy the figure. I like the figure. I think I prefer the robot mode to the vehicle mode, but I don't mind the vehicle mode. Yeah, I think it's a nice concept figure. I think it brings the character from the media into the life of fantastic plastic well. So I'm really pleased about that. I'm less likely to display it in this. Obviously I'll use it for some photography, but yeah, from my point of view, the vehicle mode is definitely secondary. Again, I mean, I love the grille, I love the shaping of it. It still reminds me of a combination between Springer and Cup. I don't know why, but it just kind of does. But yeah, I don't mind it. It's really difficult to get these legs to line up. They should be straight, and you can see that they're not. But trying to get, oh, excuse me, frog in my throat. Trying to get them straight. I've tried various different approaches to do that, and nothing seems to want to work. You can also see from this angle Solus Prime's symbol. As you'll possibly be aware, all of the 13 have their own symbol. You can see Solus's symbol there at the top of the hammer. But yeah, so the detailing on this, on the vehicle mode, is okay, but I think personally I'm gonna opt for, perfectly honestly, robot mode will be my display option, I think. But let me know, have you picked up Solus Prime? Have you had any trouble with the transformation? Do you like the character? Do you like the realization by Hasbro of the character into the toy line? As you may have seen from my recently uploaded short, I got Solus Prime, I got Primer Prime, and every time I say that I think of Flavor Flav, it's ridiculous, and also Megatronus all came together like buses, and ironically none of them transform into a bus, so they've missed a trick. So I will be looking at all 3 of those in pretty close proximity, but I thought I'd kick off with the smallest one, sort of deluxe version, Solus Prime, and then I shall move on to the other 2 very shortly. Do let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. As I mentioned, if you wish, please do like the video, and of course subscribe to the channel. It doesn't cost you a penny, but it's a fantastic mega assistance for me if you would be so kind as to do that. Anyway, thanks for spending the last 20 or so minutes with me. I've been the Triple TC. That is the Time Travelling Toy Collector. You have been a wonderful audience, and this has been Transformers Age of the Primes Deluxe Class Solus Prime of the 13 Primes, produced by Hasbro and Takara Tomy, and winging its way into your collections now. It just remains for me to say that I hope I can see you again in a future video, and indeed possibly a past video, and that a thing of beauty really is a toy forever. Take care. Bye-bye for now.